What is up, everyone? Back again with another solo episode. I know it's not ideal, and the premise of the show is to bring other entrepreneurs on to talk about their experience and stuff. But part of business is rolling with the punches, and when shit hits the fan, you just got to make it work and make stuff happen, and that's business, bro. That's how it is, and that's kind of what we're going on now. We've been setting up podcasts, and unfortunately some have fallen through in all of this, so we're left with a solo podcast, but there's worse things to do in the world. And right now I really wanted to focus on 5 major questions that early stage entrepreneurs would have towards business that I'm struggling with, and maybe you are too. So let's jump right in. Question number 1: how do you know if what you're actually building is something real and not just busy work? Let's think on this. How do you know if you're actually building something real or just doing busy work? I think doing something real comes from the heart, as in you feel fulfilled when you do the work, as opposed to when you're doing busy work, there's other things you could want to do with your time. So I think when it comes to building something real, I think building anything over a long period of time has the potential to be real. As in, for example, for me, a marketing agency is a tough business, right? And there's a lot of marketing agencies out there, but that's what I find myself being the most fulfilled with in the day to day, where I get to, make videos for people. I get to make content for people. I get to, make YouTube videos. I get to do fun things, and I get to learn every day. And I think that is an important piece of business that means you're building something real. You know what I mean? So I think if you're learning every day and you're enjoying when you sit down in your chair and look at your computer or whatever you do, I think that's a big piece of it. If you're feeling like you're getting fulfilled and it's moving the needle and you have a chance to build something really, really important and that the world needs. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a buyer for everything. You know what I mean? So I think it's important to realize that in the early days, it's going to be hard to sell anything to anybody. But over time, it's going to be easier and easier for you to sell those services. So kind of going back to the question, how do you know if what you're actually building is real? I think it's a feeling, right? I think it's, okay, well, this makes me feel fulfilled, and the trajectory of where the business is going is in a up and to the right trajectory. Whereas some businesses are up and to the right in the beginning, and then they have a steep fall off once the trend falls over. As we kind of talked about in the last episode, there's a lot of hype businesses right now that, may or may not be in the market in 3 to 5 years. But if you build a business that's somewhat hard to scale, like a marketing agency or like a I don't even know, insurance business or something like this, something that there's already places out here, but there's a gap in the market that you can fill. And right now for me, that gap in the market is marketing agencies are way overpriced for what you get. So in my mind, I want to build a marketing agency for the small business owner, that so they can see some give back from the marketing. Whereas, a lot of these small business owners can't afford $8,000 a month to post content, run ads, and all this stuff. I mean, it's crazy. And a lot of the stuff you see nowadays is, especially in the marketing world, is, these marketing agencies are charging an arm and a leg just to do simple stuff. And that's where I want to come in and build my book of business around this. Hey, I know these marketing agencies, they say they could get you X, Y, and Z, and that's probably true, but they're way over your budget and you can't really make anything happen. So they just revert to where they were before, and then they're not making any they're not getting any new business. So I think for me, it was just wedging myself in the niche, making things happen for small business owners, and then just scaling that over time. And then eventually, I mean, obviously, if you make an $8,000 sale, a few $8,000 sales, you're going to be having a lot of money coming in. But when you're priced lower, you need a lot more people coming in. So let's say my prices are around, let's say, a couple $100s a month. That gives small business owners a real chance to come to my agency and be like, okay, well, the risk to reward is pretty high, pretty low. Whereas we can risk a couple $100 a month and see how this goes, and it's not really gonna make or break us. Whereas if they go with some other marketing agency, they might be putting half of their monthly revenue into a marketing agency that, isn't really doing much for them. So I think that's a big thing of how do you know you're building something real, is that you're seeing small progressions over time and it feels right. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like you don't sit at your computer and you're like, oh, I got to do this again. I got to do this again. That's a big part of, building business. I think for the founder is you have to feel that it's right, and you have to be able to do this over a prolonged period of time. So that's a big one. That's number one. Let's jump to question number 2. First, hydration break. Yeah, I know it kind of sucks that we weren't able to have a guest today. It is what it is. Like I said, you got to roll with the punches, man. You got to make stuff happen. That is business 101. Not everything is going to be the way you plan it. Nothing probably will be the way you planned it. So you got to roll with the punches and you got to make stuff happen. You got to make something out of nothing. That is business 101. In my opinion, that is, if you can make something out of nothing, you have a great chance to succeed in business over the long term. So yeah, just had to get that out there for everybody that's like, what the hell? Why is he doing these solo episodes? It's because, listen, man, shit happens. Got to make stuff happen. Simple as that. So let's jump in to question number 2. When should I hire my first person? This is an interesting question, especially in the era we're in right now. With AI, with freelancers all over the place, with other small businesses that could partner with you. I just had an episode that came out with Johnson Pogna. He's a marketing agency owner in New York City. He has a team of like 100 people. He's been going at it for, I think it was like 20 plus years. He's been in the game for forever. He said something that really stuck with me, and it's nowadays there's so much stuff out there that can help you scale your business. Whereas earlier, let's say 2010, AI wasn't a thing. Fiverr wasn't a thing. Freelancers were hard to get, hard to outsource stuff overseas, stuff like that. So I think now, when should you hire your first person? When you run out of bandwidth to do your work. I think I'm getting to that point right now where I'm looking to hire on my first person. But for me, it doesn't make sense to bring on a full-time employee that is based in the United States because, one, they're expensive. While they're expensive, they're good if you want to potentially sell your business in the short term. It's good to have United States employees. I've heard, these firms don't necessarily love to see you outsource all of your work overseas because it's not super sustainable. Depends on who you ask, but I think you should hire your first person when you feel your bandwidth is going to things that aren't moving the needle for you. For example, right now I'm doing a lot of video editing, and video editing sucks. It takes forever. I'm not the best at it. I'm okay at it, right? I've gotten better over time, but still, there's dudes in India over there that can edit probably way better, way faster than me for way less money. So I'm looking at potentially bringing on a video editor that can take care of most of my clients' video editing. Now I have to make sure that I'm going to make the profit on top of that as well. And that's the hard thing that I don't think a lot of people talk about. For a business, you have to make money, right? And to just hire somebody on to say you did it and do all this and then you're eating away at your profit margin is not super ideal. So when I look at people that I'm potentially going to hire on, I have to look at, okay, what are they wanting for their hourly rate or their price per project or whatever. Let's say I'm looking at a thumbnail guy right now, on a freelancer for thumbnails. Going back to the question, when should you hire your first person is when there's better things you could be putting your time to than where you are right now. For example, me, like I said, video editing thumbnails. Don't get me wrong, I don't hate to video edit, right? It's fun. You can get creative. It's super technical. That's the thing that I'm not the biggest fan of. It's super technical. So it gets a little dicey, right? That's why I'm looking to bring somebody on so I can pay them, maybe it's a quarter of my monthly revenue that I get from these clients that I need video editing from and thumbnails for. And I can put him on those projects, still make some money on the back end and not have to worry about it all. So I think that's what you have to think about when you're trying to bring on your first employee is how can you make sure that you're still making your profit margin and you're not having to deal with a bunch of stuff that isn't important to you and is not moving the needle. It's hard to, it's intricate, right? Because the video editing side for me is moving the needle for sure. But at the end of the day, I can't be video editing for the next 5 years. That's not what I want this business to be. Of course, I want to do video and stuff, but I need somebody there to do all the back end videoing and video editing for me because that's not my strong suit. I'd rather be in the field interacting with the clients, you know what I mean? Taking the videos for them and then just dumping that off to somebody else so they can that's their expertise, right? And I think, if you listen to any of the world's best entrepreneurs talk, you hire for the places that's not your superpower. Video editing for me is not my superpower. Maybe for you, if you need a virtual assistant to help you set up all of your meetings and stuff. Maybe you need a salesperson. I get 100 emails a month talking about I have these online salespeople that, we could set up in your business and they could get you more leads and all this stuff. And it's like, For me, that doesn't necessarily make sense because that's my superpower. That's what I like to do. But for other people that are more in a different business, it might make sense. So I think you have to look at, okay, what is my superpower? What am I really good at? What do I really want to focus all of my time on? And then from there, you look at, okay, what is eating up at my time where I can't focus on my superpower, and then delegate all of that stuff. And if you have the money, I mean, that's what it really comes down to is, do you make enough money to throw stuff off to people? And if you do, it would definitely be worth looking at who can I hire to delegate all of this stuff that isn't moving the needle for me too. And I think that is the biggest part of when should I hire my first person. So if y'all have questions about that, definitely drop in the comments. We can go a little bit deeper. I know I'm not the best at kind of coming up with stuff on the fly, so feel free, drop in the comments questions you have on these topics or whatever. Even DM me on Instagram at modernfounders.pod. DM me there with any questions you have. Also, make sure to subscribe and go to my website, mellowadmedia.com. Check out what we do at Mellowad. Amazing product. Don't worry, we got you. Anything you need when it comes to marketing, social media, ads, all of that stuff, check out Mellowad Media. We are very affordable. We will get you right. Don't worry. Okay, hydration break. Shout out all of you watching this, by the way. I love you. Question number 3. Why does business feel harder than the advice makes it sound online? Good question. Tough question. Why does business feel harder than people make it sound online? There's this whole subculture coming out right now, and it's called LARPing. LARPing is when, I just learned about this. LARPing is when one acts like they have this business, they're financially free, whatever you want. You could see it a lot. The people in Miami, I'm in Florida, so it's even more relevant here. People in Miami going to their, they have an Airbnb. They rent an Airbnb and it's the 40th floor of some condo complex, and they just shoot content there. They have it for a month. They shoot content there the whole time, and they're really not doing anything. They're just yapping. They're just talking. They're just telling you what you should do and all of this, trying to sell like a course or something. That's LARPing. There's probably more intricate details. Y'all probably know more about it. Again, drop in the comments what y'all think about LARPing. It's a big topic right now. It's a whole subculture. So I think that's kind of why the business online makes online content and social media makes business seem easier than it is. When I first started, I remember the CEO of the old company I used to work for, I said, yo, I want some books that are going to, move the needle for me and show me what I should be doing in business and stuff like that. He gave me one book. He gave me two. One was Shoe Dog, Phil Knight. Good book. Amazing book. Second one, James Dyson autobiography. Now, if any of you don't know about James Dyson, he spent, I think, like 30 years. Let me preface. Dyson, everyone knows Dyson, right? Dyson vacuums, Dyson hair dryer. They're innovative. They're one of the most innovative privately held companies. James Dyson owns like 80% of it. He's worth hundreds of millions to billion. He's definitely worth more than 100 million. He's worth probably $5 billion. So James Dyson didn't find success in his business till like 30 years in. And the old CEO of the company told me to read this book because it will show you how hard business actually is. And I think that's why a lot of people kind of misinterpret, because they're not digging into the weeds of like the people that have actually done it. They're listening to, the TJR, social media and stuff, which like, that's not a good representation, right? Like, do you really want to listen to some guy that's selling a course on trading crypto or like how to drop ship or like all this stuff? Like, the last 5 years have been so big in this like online creator business guru situation, and I kind of see myself like falling into it a little. Like, it's hard. Like, you do what you want for clicks, right? And I'm trying so hard to separate myself from that and just come at you with business ideas and business content that isn't like shooting at you from down here at this guru style content. It gives me the ick, man. It's not good for people. It's not good for early stage entrepreneurs because they have this false narrative of what they think business will be. So I think if you want to learn about how hard business is, read this book, the James Dyson autobiography. You'll see how difficult it was for him to actually make it in business, and you'll see how the compound effect, which I just posted a compound effect video on my Instagram. Everyone go check it out because the compound effect is so real. Even in my business over the last 8 to 9 months, I've seen the compound effect in full action, whereas I'm literally getting goosebumps right now talking about it. The compound effect is real. You start, you don't know exactly what you're doing, but you're just putting one foot in front of the other. 0.1% every day. If you get better if you get 0.1% better every day, you will blow everyone else out of the water. But you have to stay consistent with it over time so the compound effect can kick in. If the compound effect doesn't kick in, you're cooked, bro. You're cooked. So I think, why does business feel harder than the advice makes it sound? Because the advice isn't accurate. The advice is not accurate, and I think if you want accurate advice, it's out there. It's just harder to find because it's not glamorous. They're not gonna put that in front of you because it doesn't get clicks. It makes it sound harder than it actually is, and all of this, that, and you know what I mean? So if you want to learn more about how hard business will be and how to stick it out and all of that, one, read The Compound Effect by, who is it by? Darren Hardy? I'm checking right now. Books. Also, audiobooks, man, they're it. Compound Effect, Darren Hardy. Everyone go read it. Amazing book. Yeah. And I think just keep going, man. And also read James Dyson. Question number 4. Let's grind. Wait, hydration break first. Yeah, man, these solo episodes are hard. These are not my forte. It's really difficult to come on the mic and just talk by yourself, which is why I kind of like doing the solo episode, because it makes me uncomfortable, right? Whereas when I have, this is kind of going off script, but that's okay. When I have a guest on, I can just kind of come up with questions, let them talk, not have to do a lot of stuff. But I think the solo episode is good because I get out of my comfort zone. And I think that's another thing in business is you got to get out of your comfort zone, man. If you're comfortable, you're not in a good place, especially as an early stage entrepreneur. Your days should not feel comfortable at all. Like, my days are not comfortable at all. I'm doing hard things every day. And I think that is what grows you to be a well-rounded human, one, and a well-rounded businessman too, or business owner, I should say, businessman or woman. Shout out all the women watching this. If you're watching this, I think we have 0% women watch this, but if you are, drop a comment. I want to know you're here. Appreciate you. But yeah, I think you got to do hard stuff all the time. Whereas, that's why I think the gym is so important for business people too. Like, when I look at the hours that I work, I count the gym in that every time, because the gym is great for the mind and it's great for doing hard stuff. It'll teach you how to deal with hard stuff. And I've heard a lot of people say, where you are in your mind starts with your body. People try to reverse it and say, I'm going to work on my mind first, but my body's going to get out of shape, out of touch with my body, all of this. And I've heard a lot of people say it's actually the inverse, where you work on your body first by going in the gym, doing hard things there, showing your brain, okay, we're going to do hard things and we're going to get past this. But in the end, it'll be all worth it because your mind will be so in touch with that, and you're going to be used to doing hard things and you're going to be okay with it. And I think that's a really big part of business that not a lot of people talk about. So keep that in mind moving forward. Question number 4, hydration break again. I just got off on a big tangent. Question number 4. What should early stage founders focus on first? Brand, sales, system, or content? Like I said, I'm an early stage entrepreneur too. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know all the answers to this. I'm speaking from my experience, what I've learned from talking to quite a few entrepreneurs that have not made it, but they have reasonable sized business. They built their business from the ground up and they're doing this. They've been doing this for the last 25 years. So from what I've understood and took away from these conversations is, what should early stage founders focus on first? Brand, sales, system, or content? Well, I think the baseline of every business is you have to make sales, right? Like, if there's no sales, let me flip this camera on. Got to get some content for the Instagram too. Day in the life content. So what should an early stage founder focus on first? Brand, sales, systems, or content? Yeah, I think you have to have sales, right? Step number 1 in any business is making sales. Unless you're one of these AI companies that can get away with not having a lot of sales and your product is amazing, and then your sales will come later. That's what a lot of the tech companies do now. OpenAI, for example, 80% of their users are free users, but they're evaluated at a ton of money. And why is that? Because they have the potential to grow to that, and they're not making all the sales right now. So for them, it's probably the systems that they're doing first, and they have a lot of money to back them. Whereas a lot of early stage founders, especially like in service-based businesses, aren't going to have, VC money to back you up. And I don't think you necessarily should unless you really need it. So I think number 1, you have to focus on sales. You have to get money in the door so you could focus on other things. But I think along those lines, I think it goes sales, and then like your brand is right after that. It's like sales, brand, right here. And then like systems and stuff. You hear people say systems are super important. I think systems are important to bring other people on, but when you're early, it's just going to be you and maybe like your co-founder or like some VA or something. Like, I don't think systems are as important as people make them sound. Like, yeah. So, yeah, I would focus on sales. When I first got into my business, that's the main thing I was focused on. I was trying to reach out to people. I was trying to get new clients. I was trying to do this, do that. And I think the baseline of every business is sales. If you can't make sales, you don't have a business. So I think early stage entrepreneurs should focus on their brand to get more sales. I mean, realistically, that's what the brand is for, to build trust and to build a brand so you can make more sales in the future. So I think sales comes first, brand is right after that. And I think you should start trying to make a brand as soon as you can, because yeah, that's what I'm doing with this podcast and my social media and stuff. It's super important to your business to have a brand so people know you and want to work with you, because if nobody knows you, nobody will want to work with you and you will not make any money. And making money is business. There is no business without making money unless you're a nonprofit, and even then they're still making money. You look at some of these places and some of these, you look at some of these nonprofits and some of these places, their CEO and their COO is making $300,000 a year. Why is that? Because they're making money, and that's a whole different topic. But yeah, I think sales comes first and brand is right after that. And yeah, I think you have to find what works for you, and you have to do a lot of trial and error. Trial and error is everything. And anybody that tells you trial and error isn't it is lying to you. And I don't think it'll work for you in the end. I don't think you're going to get some tailored system from somebody that is just going to auto work for you. So I think you have to find what works for you in sales and in brand, and then go from there and just make it work. Make something out of nothing. That's business. Again, making something out of nothing. So yeah. Question number 5, the final question. First, hydration break. How do you keep going when results feel slow? Great question. Great question. Also, drop in the comments what y'all think. How do you keep going when things feel slow? I'm going to tell you what my ideas are. I want to hear from y'all what y'all thoughts are on these questions. Okay, let's jump into it. How do you keep going when results feel slow? I think you have to have an understanding of what you want out of the business, right? For example, the first months when I started my business were ultra slow. I had 1 client, 2 clients, max. But I poured everything into those clients where, I'm not like I said, I'm coming in, I'm undercutting the market in a sense to focus on small businesses where they don't have the budget to bring in these huge marketing agencies. So I was giving everything to my clients, even though I'm not making the most. One sec, let me turn this video off. Yeah, I was pouring everything into them to make them know that I'm serious about this. I'm going to give you everything, even if the dollar signs aren't there for me right now. And I'm projecting this over the next 20 years. You know what I mean? I don't think you get into business to make money fast. I think you get into business to make money over a long period of time. Your potential when you start business is uncapped. Whereas when you're at a 9-to-5, your potential is pretty much capped. Unless, if you work in one company for 20 years, you're obviously going to work your way up. You're probably going to be a C-suite person. But even then, your potential is still capped. And I think in business, what works for me is I remind myself my potential is uncapped, and it is what I want it to be. As in, right now, I'm not making money. 20 years from now, though, if I keep all my clients, which is the goal, I'll be making more money, a lot more money. And I'll be very uncapped compared to where I would be if I was, a C-suite executive at some company. And it's just for me, it's like, I love the hustle. I love the hustle of business. I love the hustle. I don't know what it is. Like, I love having to be like, oh, I gotta hop on this call. I have a client calling me right now. I love, holding myself like a business person. There's this, you get this like aura when you're working for your business. You know what I mean? Like, you understand all the parts of the business, and you understand what works and what doesn't. And like, for me, what keeps me going when the results feel slow is just the compound effect, and knowing that I'm uncapped in my potential as long as I work my ass off moving forward. So yeah, I think realizing that, right now it might feel slow, but in a year, 5 years, 15, 25, all that time, you have the potential to do something insane as long as you apply yourself really well. For another example, James Dyson again. James Dyson literally applied himself so hard over 30 years, and it was so slow those 30 years, and then boom, something clicked and something worked, and now he's worth $5 billion. And I think that's what keeps me going personally. And I would love to, again, drop in the comments what keeps y'all going, because I would love to know. But for me, that's what keeps me going, is that untapped potential. And like when you start young, you get the ability to really to see where it goes and to run it up. So yeah, I think that's what does it for me. Again, love to hear what y'all think about it. That is all the questions I had for today. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. Let me know in the comments. Again, I hope there's so many comments on this post, because I've been telling y'all to drop in the comments the whole time. But yeah, I really want to know what y'all think about these questions. And let me know if you like these solo episodes. I know it's a little different, and it's not exactly what we advertised this show to be, but like I said, you got to make something out of nothing. That's business 101. And that's exactly what I'm doing with these episodes. So let me know what y'all think. I appreciate every single one of you for watching. Once again, whole computer is slow. Once again, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, make sure to comment, and make sure to subscribe. Go check out those 2 books, James Dyson Autobiography, The Compound Effect. Those 2 books will tell you exactly what you need to know, and it'll get you moving forward in the right direction. I've read them both. Amazing books. Let me know what the next topics y'all like to see are in this style of video, because there will be more. I have a feeling there will be more of these, because that's just how life goes, and shit ain't easy. So without further ado, thank you everyone for watching. I'll see y'all in the next episode. Peace.